Welcome to the Be Well and Ground podcast, where we come together to nurture our bodies, our families, and our lives in a way that's sustainable, healthy, and full of heart. I'm your host, Emily, and each week we'll connect with wellness experts, passionate professionals, and fellow mamas to bring you practical tips and inspiration on everything from motherhood and health to gardening and low-tox living. This is a space for community where we lift each other up with actionable advice, support, and the tools you need to create more balance in your life. Whether you're looking to grow your garden, simplify your wellness routine, or just find that little bit of peace in your busy day, we've got you covered. So grab a cup of tea, join the conversation, and let's journey toward a more balanced, more vibrant life together. Today's episode is a special one. I'm sitting down with Hannah, founder of Mood Reader Books, a mobile bookstore run out of a vintage baby blue truck right here in Charlotte. We talk about leaving a six-figure corporate job, navigating anxiety, taking a leap of faith without a perfect plan, and what it really looks like to build something from scratch as a mom. This conversation is about more than just books. It's about identity, courage, motherhood, and choosing fulfillment over comfort. I'm so excited for you to hear this episode. So let's dive in. Thank you so much, Hannah, for joining me today. I am so excited to talk to you, first off, because it's been forever. We actually connected via Target internship when I was in college, and she was the most amazing. I would call you a mentor to me when I was going through the leadership program. So that's how I connected with you, and we kind of stayed in touch. And you're doing some big things now. So I'll kind of give the floor to you if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are, and then what your current business is.
Yes. All right. So, hi, my name's Hannah Emme. My current business I'm here chatting with Emily about today is called Mood Reader Books. It is a mobile bookstore based out of a antique truck. So it's a cute old baby blue vintage flatbed that's really fun to drive because everybody waves at me when I'm driving it. And I just got started with that business in November-ish, like December. So it's only been a few months. It happened really fast, which was all great. But we are still kind of learning the lay of the land and finding new events around the area and making ourselves known to people in Charlotte. The book scene, I think everywhere, but also in Charlotte in particular, over the past 2 years has blown up, which is really exciting because now there's specific book fairs every other month at breweries around the city and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's been fun to just be able to get more involved in that industry and meet all these people. I guess also me personally, I have lived in Charlotte for almost 13 years now. Yep, that sounds right. And I've got two kiddos, a 6-year-old who's in first grade and a 2-year-old. And our old 13-year-old doggy has been with us basically our entire marriage. And we love it here. We've got a great neighborhood, great community around us. And
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So if you don't mind me asking, the book truck, you said it happened kind of all of a sudden in November. What was kind of the aha moment for things to click? This is what I need to do. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Yeah. So I will preface this by saying 4-ish years ago, the company that I was at, so I worked for a digital marketing agency. And even this past year when I left, I love my boss. I love everybody I work with. I love the work that I was doing. About 4 years ago, I had hit a point there where I didn't have a good boss at the time. I had some really overwhelming clients is the nicest word that I can use for it. And had already had this idea of a mobile bookstore. And so 4 years ago, I started looking into it. And I just very briefly started kind of dabbling in what that would look like. And then things turned around, my client, agency fired the client. I got a new boss who I love, who's been a great mentor to me, and was this is good. I'm going to put that idea on hold and have been thinking about it on and off ever since. Callum, the 2-year-old, after I had him and we had 2 kids in the house, it started to become a little bit more clear that I'm working remotely, at home by myself, 10 hours a day, sitting in front of the computer screen with clients that the people were nice, but the clients themselves were not companies that felt fulfilling for me at all. I think probably about a year ago, I started to just kind of think about what if I went after this idea again or did something different? What if I made this major life change that is really scary. But like if it were to work out, it would be like everything I've been wanting for, I say it happened pretty quickly because my original plan in 2025 was not to quit my job and start this. My original plan was to like, I don't actually know if there really was a plan. It was just like, hey, I don't think I'm super happy here anymore. Like, what should I be
Yeah.
doing about this? I actually took a personal leave last summer. So in June of 2025, I went on a 3-month break, which worked out really well because it was the first year that Paisley was in elementary school, our 6-year-old,
Mm.
and would be home for the summer. So I got to like
Oh.
be home with her the entire time I was on leave. I was planning to go back to my job. I had talked to my boss about making a change to like the role that I was in and trying to focus a little bit more on like a specific area of marketing as opposed to what I had been doing, which was basically just account director role, overseeing like everything for certain clients.
Mm.
And when I spoke, well, long story short, when I spoke with HR getting ready to go back to my job, things just like weren't working out. I felt like very strongly, like felt a pull from the Holy Spirit, like very
Mm.
strongly that I needed to be done.
Yeah.
I ended up unexpectedly, like rather than going back, like 2 days before I was supposed to go back to my job, I told my HR instead that I was gonna leave and that it was just like time to go.
That's big. Yeah.
It was really big. When I talk about this like transition from full-time, not corporate, but it felt very corporate, like full-time corporate-ish work into this like owning my own business and kind of figuring it out as I go was also very much a faith journey for me because
Mm.
I very strongly had to like let it go, like let the worries go, like trust that it was going to be good, like put a little bit more of my time into like my prayers and my faith journey and talking to people at church about how I could continue to trust God's plan and not like take over it with my own anxiety, which I think we're all kind of in a little bit of a space where it's just constantly like you need to make sure that you feel, what's the word, like like you have a solid foundation. And I think for really anybody, the idea of giving up like steady income for something that you're not, at least I was not like preparing for that
Mhm.
change, is really scary. So it has been a big faith journey as well.
Yeah.
To
Who did you tell first that you were going to do this transition? Did you
Who did I
tell,
tell first?
yeah, was it like your husband? Was it your mom or like your friend? You're like, hey, I think I'm
um
actually going to do this.
I think it was probably Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I, even when I went and had that phone call with HR where I ended up quitting,
Hmm.
I was he was working on something outside and I was standing with him and I said, "Okay, I'm going to go talk to HR." And I think I like made a joke that like, "We'll see if I quit my job this meeting."
Uh,
Like, and then I did. And initially the plan was not like, "Okay, I'm going to do the book truck." The plan was like, "Okay, what comes?" But that wasn't the plan. Like, it was just what comes
oh,
next. I didn't know right away that that's what I was going to do. It sort of just became like a, well, if I don't know what else I want to do and I really want to do this, like now is the
try
time.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So did you have the business plan first or the truck first? Like, did you get the truck after you're
Um,
like, okay, no, I'm going to do this?
Sort
Or
of.
they kind of,
On it
yeah.
kind of came hand in hand. Like I don't, if we
Okay.
hadn't found the truck, which again is like another part of this journey that I'm like, it was in the right place at the right time.
Oh,
And there
yeah. I
like
love that.
I just don't think it was a coincidence. I think that was
That's
like
when you
what I
know
was,
it's,
yeah.
yeah.
So I had the idea. I had been starting like looking into it again for a week or two, but it's really hard to find direction when for me, it's really hard to find direction when there's not something like physically in front of me, like
Mhm.
kind of giving me direction. And so I had been doing a bunch of research into like, if you look at mobile bookstores around the country or just like mobile boutiques, mobile retail in general, if they have like a vehicle for it, a lot of them do like trailers or box trucks where you like walk in. And so like all the
Oh,
shelving's inside and
Okay.
it's like easy to move. You tow it with a truck, and then it's like also safe from the weather and all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
And I I had started researching like, do I want to do it this way or do I want to do it this way? And if I do get a trailer, like how am I going to tow that? Do we need to upgrade our car? It just kind of turns into like a
Oh,
spiral.
yeah.
The same weekend that I was thinking through that, we were coming back from somewhere with the kids in our neighborhood. We saw a sign for an open house. We were like, cool, let's go see what house is for sale, like nosy neighbors.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of us are. And we went down a street that we don't ever go down in our neighborhood. And the truck was on the side of the road. The guy was selling it. And you know how people say, like, don't like jump the gun, don't, act too
Yeah, don't
quickly
rush
or
her.
like make a
Yeah.
decision too quickly. I literally looked at that truck and was like, I have to buy that truck. Like, that's the local books. That's what I have to do. It's just, it was so
Yeah.
obvious to me immediately that that was
Oh,
what needed to happen. So I think the
nice.
fact that we did find it, like it just was like dropped right in front of me,
Right.
was how I was able to like get a first step and just go.
Got it. It was kind of like, here's your step, now go. Yeah.
Yeah,
So when you
absolutely.
bought the truck, was it like, did you have to renovate it or kind of walk us through it? Did you have to do a lot of work on it to kind of make it what you wanted?
Yes and no.
Okay.
No, because it's already an automatic, so I didn't have
Okay.
to. It had been updated, like the engine's been updated. I say this like it's new, but it's not. Like it's from the 70s instead of
Yeah.
the 40s. So the truck is a 1949 Ford, but it
Hmm.
has an engine in it that's like only got like 20,000 miles on it or something like that.
Oh,
So we didn't have to do anything to actually like drive it. Like I could drive it
okay.
right off the bat. It runs really
Good.
well, all that good stuff. What we did do was paint it because, as you know, it's adorable. It's like a
It's
baby
so pretty.
blue.
Yeah.
When we bought it, it looked basically like it had been spray painted black because it was just, I think they had been trying to cover up like the spots that needed some work instead of
Oh,
actually
doing
working
work.
them.
Yeah.
Yes. So we got it painted so that it was gorgeous because that's kind of the whole point.
How'd you pick the
It,
blue?
it was actually the color, maybe I'll try to send you some pictures,
Okay.
but it was the color that the, not the previous owner, but like I think the person that owned it for the longest, kind of in the middle
Oh,
of its life,
yeah.
had it baby blue. I'm
Okay.
fairly certain that that was like near the color that it was when it was made,
Oh,
just based on
perfect.
like when they started taking off layers of paint and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure, but
Hmm.
the guy that sold it to us had some pictures and it was baby blue in the pictures. And I just thought it was so cute. And also, down the line, we want to get the inside fixed up so it's like nice and pretty and cute too, and
Yeah.
hopefully like rent it out for events and stuff like that.
Okay.
Baby blue seemed like a really good choice. It's like it's still good in the winter, it's still good in the summer. Like we thought about red because that's a very like
Yeah.
traditional truck.
Nostalgic. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted it to be a little like softer, I guess.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was how we that was how we picked the blue. And then we
Yeah.
replaced the wood in the flatbed because that really needed it. But other than
Yeah.
that, it was like ready to go.
So back to you said there was a lot of mobile pull behind trailers and walk in. Did the
Hmm.
truck confirm the setup that you wanted? Like, did you know what kind of setup you wanted, or did the truck kind of confirm? You know what I mean? Like, did
Yeah.
that kind of force you to do it that way, or did you have that idea already?
I had thought about it both ways,
Okay.
and there are like pros and cons to this. Like I think the
Right.
one major obvious pro is it's super cute.
So cute.
So it's like it
Yeah,
catches people's
eye-catching.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
people talk
everyone
about
wants to
it.
take pictures with it. I
Yeah.
went we just got a new muffler put on it because it was really loud. And when I
Yeah.
went to pick it up this morning, there was a guy that had literally pulled off of the street just to park and get out and take a picture of the truck because he was so like he just thought it was so cool. Just
Amazing.
like it's like one of those things that like I want to sell books. I love books. I want to bring them to people. We have
Mhm.
new and used books, so I'm trying to like make it so that like new books can be expensive now,
Yeah.
especially. So like if you can't buy a brand new book for $30, I still want to be able to like have something. Ultimately, my goal with this is like community, like being able to
Mm,
talk to people and like make new friends and like figure out spaces in the community where like it makes sense for me to like spend my time and my energy and like bring books to people that, want them and like want to talk about them or discover something new. So,
yeah. That's amazing. So with the setup of the book truck, can you kind of walk us through for those that haven't seen your truck? I can obviously link to it in a
yeah.
picture, but can you kind of describe? So is it exterior set up with bookshelves and
Yes,
stuff like that? Yeah, it's a pretty
it is.
blue.
It has a flatbed.
Okay.
So my vision was basically shelving that goes along the outsides of the bed. So, like on both sides and on the
Mhm.
back. So, my husband Kyle has been working on building that for me. So, we have all the units, like that's actually what these are right here. They're like stacked inside
Oh, okay.
for
Got it.
for
Got it.
winter, but we spent a lot of time like building these so that they are like the right size and shape to be able to like line the bed completely. And then we will also add like doors to them so that I can then like have stuff inside stored at all times. Right now we're kind of doing
Yeah.
like back and forth, inside, outside every event.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, the idea is that like you can literally just walk up from any side. We're about half kids, half adults. And so I try to
Okay.
do like adult books on one side and kids books on one side. So you kind of have like, if you are a mom and you've got your kids, like
Hmm.
you can go to that side. And if you're not, like you can kind of browse books
Yeah.
without that kind of all being mixed in. But yeah, so right now the main thing is just it's super accessible. Obviously, the like downside to that is like weather can affect us really easily.
Yeah.
Haven't quite had that happen yet, but I'm sure it will happen. But that's also just like we knew that was a trade-off when we
Right.
kind of decided to go this direction. But it's just so much fun to have something that's a little bit different. So
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, are you like one of the only book truck
there's so
mobiles?
there's me.
Okay.
Ironically, one of my neighbors who lives like 2 blocks away is
Yeah.
also working on starting up a mobile bookstore. So she has a trailer and is also going to be at the event that I'm going to be at on February 7th, which like lots of book vendors. And then I think there's some other like pop-up bookstores in the area. There's different companies that focus like on more specific like genre
Oh,
and are in like very specific like spots in the city. And then I do know that there's another woman with a truck. I think she's in like Fort Mill or Rock Hill.
okay.
But
So
yes,
they're starting to
there's
become more of a thing.
a little bit more. But yeah, there's not.
Yeah.
I do know that there are a few different mobile bookstores in like the Triad area and the mountains and stuff like that, which that
Okay.
also makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
because they go to different like smaller towns.
Yeah. That makes
So
sense. Well, that's awesome. Well, let's kind of circle or start at the beginning now. So we kind of know what you do now.
yep.
What about, we'll come back to the truck because I still got lots of questions for you. But what did you do? We kind of touched on what you did before your book truck, but kind of give us more of your background. Were you always an entrepreneur, like from a kid, or kind of give us a little bit more about who Hannah is before that
Yes.
corporate job and before the book truck?
Yes. So I don't know if ironic is the word, but like weirdly enough,
Hmm.
in college, I was a business major in college, but entrepreneurship was one of my like concentrations. So I was like entrepreneurship and
Hmm.
marketing. So it's something I've been thinking about for a while, but it took
Hmm.
until this point for me to actually like make the leap. So like as you mentioned, we worked at Target together for a little bit. So I
Hmm.
did do like retail management
Yep.
briefly. And then I hopped over to the digital marketing industry. I started at my agency in 2015, I think. I was with them for 3 years. And then I did a short stint at Blumenthal Performing Arts, which
Remember that.
is, yeah. And the big difference there was like I wanted to try like the B2C, business to consumer, like
Okay.
direct marketing a little bit
Right.
more. My agency was business to business,
Hmm.
lots of tech and like software kind of stuff. I ended up going back to that agency and then I stayed another 5 years there. So did a lot of like building websites, marketing plans, social media, blog posts, like the whole content backbone of a digital marketing program for the clients that we had. So very, very management focused in general in all of that, all of those roles, really.
Think all those roles seem to like benefit you in the position that you now do. You've had the retail
Yeah.
experience, you've had the marketing experience, you know how to market a business, and now you get to market your own. So do you
Yes.
see some of that, what you learn come into being an entrepreneur? Like, does that background help you tremendously? And how has it
Yeah.
shifted from doing marketing for B2C and business to business to like entrepreneur like yours? Like, how
Yeah.
has that shifted?
I That is a really good question, because one of the things I joked about early on was in the B2B like marketing that I was doing, my specific clients were like enterprise sized clients.
Okay.
So I didn't do like videos and TikToks and like
Yeah, it's
fly by the
different.
seat of your pants stuff. So that was one of the things I had to learn. I think this is the first time that I kind of jokingly told myself, like, I feel like I'm starting to get old because now I'm trying to do something with technology that everybody else does
Yes.
that I've just never done before, really. But yes, like having worked all those years, having to like create plans for people and describe everything we were going to do and why it was important, and then executing it and then measuring it, like that whole spectrum of like creating a marketing strategy has been so helpful for me, because not only is it like, what am I going to post on social media and when? It's like, I have some of the background of working on these other businesses and kind of having to have the confidence to tell those people, like, this is what you need to do. So now I'm in my own shoes, and I
You're like,
sometimes find myself talking to myself like that, because I'll be like, well, should I get this book to carry on the truck or not? Because like, I wouldn't really read it, but someone else might buy it. And I have to kind of step back and be like, is that my target market? Is that really like what I want? Because it's very easy, I think, as a small business to like cast the wide net. Like if
right.
anyone's willing to spend money at a local business, which has become sort of like almost like this moral endeavor and not just, do you have the thing I want or does somebody else? Then you like, if you're going to spend money at a small business, then how is that, like, does that business have something that you want? I think it's easy to like kind of blow out of proportion, lose your niche, I guess. And so even
Okay.
as a marketer who's constantly been telling clients for the last 10 years or whatever, like, no, we don't need to do that, because yeah, we might those people might come in, they might read this blog post, but it's not for them. So I have to remind myself of that constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like teaching myself the same thing I've been
Mhm.
doing for a long time, but in a different in a
Yeah,
different
that's
way.
so crazy. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, with that being said, how did that name come up? Like, did you know the name when you knew of your book business, or did that also come to you kind of organically and just kind of happened?
Yeah, it did sort of just happen. I think I probably still have notes in my phone that are like giant lists of
Like book
ideas.
truck names?
Yes,
Yeah.
the main, I guess, like thing that I had to decide between was, do I want it to be focused on the truck or do I want it to be focused on the books?
Mm, okay.
So I originally went through a lot of names that were more like mobile focused, and then ultimately ended up at Mood Reader Books, because I wanted it to be descriptive of like me as a person and the vibe, I guess, that I'm bringing to my little space here, and
Hmm.
not just the fact that it's like on a truck, which now, having had a few events and seeing like the reaction to the truck, I'm like, people are going to know who I am because of the truck, even if they don't remember my business name, which is
Yeah.
actually, I think, great. And I didn't have to like name the business after the truck, it honestly.
Yeah. Like,
So
you're like, that's the truck. They'll know you.
yes,
Which I was funny
exactly.
because I was sharing before we started how my neighbor knows you, like, just
Mhm.
because of your truck. So it's, like, becoming
Yes.
almost, like, I wouldn't say iconic, but, like, is that the right, like, it's
I
a
would love to say
symbol.
iconic.
I would say
Yeah.
iconic. Yes, very
Iconic.
iconic.
I'm hopeful that like I'll start driving around Charlotte and people will be like, "Oh, there's the book truck lady."
There's the
And you, as a mom, and whoever else is listening that is a mom to young or like semi younger kids, knows the Little Blue Truck books.
oh
So
my
that was a
that
big uh-huh.
it just, like, that is literally the book we read to my son in my belly, and not,
Yeah.
like, his book. Oh my god.
So like I would have
That
loved
was
to have just
good.
called it like Little Blue Truck Books.
That
But
is
like
so
that's just like
cute.
a copyright infringement thing waiting to
Right.
happen, I think. But
Love
yes,
that.
colloquially, I have some neighbors that have a neighbor that has three little boys, and
Mhm.
they call it the little blue truck.
It is a little blue truck. Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
That's
yes.
adorable.
So it's
Um,
fun. It's like it has multiple names, but everybody
there's
knows what it
so
is.
many great things that you have going on with it.
Yeah.
But so I know nothing about this industry. How do you curate your books? Like, is that
Yep.
something that, yeah, how does that process work? Do you handpick
So
things? Do you find them? Go ahead.
yes. Right now, I thought about this earlier and then I forgot to say it out loud. One of the things with like the setup that I picked is like the amount of square footage for books is very small.
Mm,
So
mm,
I definitely have to be curated. And my goal with this is I don't know if this sounds a little bit like self-centered, but it's like if I like it, I'm going to put it on the truck and I'm going to help the
okay.
people who like the same things as me also find it. Which as a mom who reads, that's great for adults, but then also like with my 6-year-old and my 2-year-old,
Mm,
I've got exposure to like these other like areas of childhood and the kinds of stuff that they like.
mhm.
So I do curate new books, so like purchase them wholesale to resell as a retailer, as an indie
Okay.
bookstore retailer. Um, so that is mostly just kind of staying on top of like what's new, what are people really looking forward to. Um, Throughout the year, I will definitely be really focused on like different holidays and seasons, which is
Mhm.
kind of how I also want to curate the vibe of the truck. I know like a lot of particularly like romance readers, like they'll have them like specific to Christmas or like I'm trying to think of like like um what's the word? They have like puns in the titles and stuff like that, just like kind of like cute little like make you feel good and kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Coming up is Valentine's Day, so at the market that I'll be at the 7th, I'll have a bunch of like kids
Love it.
books,
Okay.
yeah, for
I was thinking
Valentine's
it.
Day and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And with the used books, because I know people that like new bookstores and used bookstores aren't always the same people. Like a used bookstore can be like much more of like a looking for treasure kind of
Okay.
vibe. I have been going around and accumulating used books like with a very high standard. So
Okay.
with this small amount of square footage, I want to make sure that the used books I have for people are like worth the space and also worth like their time. So I do again have like a variety of kids and adults used books, but I'm trying really hard to make sure that they're newer titles and well known and that the books are in good shape, whether I get those via donation or from like secondhand stores or whatever the case may be, that
Mhm.
it is still like high quality, I guess.
Right.
So
Yeah, I was just thinking of this back to our Target days. It's almost like you have end caps and you have to like
mhm.
focus your planogram, like what is the most why? Like what am I driving here? I don't know. Just thinks of that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I even just the couple events I have done so far, I set up the truck completely differently. Like one day, I had one weekend in December where I had a small event and a big event back
Mhm.
to back, and I set them up completely differently. And I feel like even just that is like a good learning experience. Sure,
Like
like
there's so many, I feel like mind blowing, like the way you set up the truck, the stuff that you have on the truck, like the event that you're at. There's so many different ways you can take it and make it. And you can get
yeah,
lots of great feedback too from
yeah,
people.
yes. So yeah,
But so far, what kind of feedback have you received? Are you getting like what are people looking for when they come to your truck?
I that is a good question. I think I'm still sort of learning, but I do know that like initially I thought like, okay, I'm gonna have adult and kids. I think the kids' books are gonna be even more important than I originally anticipated because I think if anybody's like me, like I can go to a bookstore looking for myself, but then if there's a cute kids book, I'm like, I have to get this for my child. Like this is important.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to like recommend titles for lots of ages and stuff like that. Right now, I do think the used books are going over really well. I'm also purposefully trying to keep the prices on those as low as possible so that like if there's something that you do like I think I just referred to it as like hidden treasure or something like that. Like if you come and there's a used book for like $4 or $5 of something that you've sort of been thinking about but didn't want to spend the money on, it's like, okay, great. So yeah, we'll see a little bit more like how things fare. I personally am like a big like fantasy and romance reader. And so I initially had a little bit more of that. And I think the difference moving forward on like whether or not that's going to be focus, I guess,
Mhm.
is if I focus on it, like on Instagram and stuff or not. And I think it's just going to come down to like the audience of people. Because I
Yeah.
read lots of things, which was kind of the whole point. Is like I don't stick to one
Yeah.
specific genre. So I want that to also be like something that if someone sees me in an event one weekend, that I have like a very different selection than I might like if they see me at a different event like a week later.
Mhm.
And just kind of make it like something fun to always touch base with and not just like the same
The
like New York
same.
Times
Like,
bestseller list.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
do you handpick, like you said, different titles based on the type of event? Like, are you gonna, that's kind of like your focus is
yes.
kind of gonna always shift and have new things based on the event type?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I kind of went into this knowing that like as a mobile vendor and
Mm.
not just opening for a certain set of hours day to day, like inventory and storage is actually like a lot bigger piece of the business than like a brick and mortar, I think, because of course they have like higher volume in storage. But for me,
Mhm.
it's like I packed up all of my Christmas stuff and I
Mhm.
set it on a shelf and I'm just going to save it for next year. So I kind of have that like variety.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think I'll slowly just like accumulate the different variety of stuff that will kind of go back and forth throughout the year. But I'm really excited about like learning how that works well and what makes people most excited to come up and be like, "What did you bring today?"
Yeah, because
So,
you always will have
yeah.
something new for them to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, we can kinda switch some gears now. I would love to talk about, since marketing is so heavily in your background,
Yeah.
what is your current marketing strategy? Are you heavily using the social media and Instagram? Because it seems like that's where a lot of people are finding.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
kinda walk us through what your, like, just an overview of kinda what your our strategies are.
Yeah. So right now, I am basically only focused on Instagram. I am working on getting a website up and running, but
Mhm.
I'm mostly focused on like the actual in person experience of the
Okay.
truck and the market and what happens there. So I've been really focused on like not even just Instagram posting, but like the connections I'm making on Instagram. And I think that partially comes from swinging from sitting in front of a computer 10 hours a day. I want to be in this industry where I'm actually like meeting people in the community and like I've gotten coffee with like a bunch of different bookstore owners and vendors and people and stuff that I've met. And I don't want to say I'm like in a networking phase, but it feels like I'm like just getting to know all of these people, not even just bookstore owners, but also like people that do like bookish merch, like,
Yeah,
mugs and bookmarks and all that kind of fun
so
stuff.
many.
Very creative, like fun people that
Right.
I just wouldn't have crossed paths with before. So a
Mhm.
lot of what I'm doing, I think right now is just face to face, like almost like word of mouth, but
Right.
it's more so that I want to build up the community, like
Mhm.
naturally and with like that focus of like a long-term growth as opposed to just kind of shouting into
Right.
Instagram.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm really focused more so on like the people connections and just generally like talking about books and like what do you like? And
Mhm.
that also feels very true to me as a person.
Right.
Um I'm still working on like getting good at videos on Instagram, but hopefully I will lean a little bit more into that like book recommendation
Yeah.
side as I go.
Yeah.
So,
Would
yeah.
you say that people find you online first, or is it they find you at a location and they see the truck and then like, "Oh, wow, this is a business." What does it seem to be right now?
Um, I think right now it's probably a little bit more in person
Okay.
just because it's like,
So
well,
many.
number one, it's in person, like the actual event. And then I don't know if this would count as online or not, but then like following up from the event, there'll be all the people that like tag me with pictures of the
Oh,
truck and stuff like
okay.
that.
Got it.
And so that's as an extension, like
Mhm.
kind of turning that on in person into online. But yeah, that focus has mostly been real world so far, I guess.
Yeah. So how has that transition been for you, starting the mobile book truck? I know you're at the beginning, which is hard when you start a business, but how has that been for you as a mom? Has it been kind of more aligned with your vision of how you want it to be? You want to talk about that a little
Yeah.
more? Yeah.
Yeah, I could talk about I could talk about that transition for a long time. I mean, you did
Right.
something similar like
Mhm.
years
Yeah.
ago and are still doing like fun new things,
Yeah.
obviously. But I didn't realize I knew I was a little burnt out. Like I think everybody at some point in your career, no matter what you're doing, gets
Yeah.
burnt out. Like even if you're a full-time mom, you're obviously going to get burnt out. When I took that 3 month leave from my previous job, I kind of felt this initial sense of like coming back into myself as a person and not living in this like mental survival mode of just trying to get through every day. And
Mhm.
then when I quit my job, there was just like there was like this whole layer I felt like I shed of
Oh, yeah.
I used to I mean, I've struggled with anxiety and periods of depression in the past, and I knew that, you know, job stress can be a huge part of that. Being a mom with a full-time job is also part of that. Like there's
Mhm.
just that constant mom guilt. Like if I'm working my job, I'm not doing this, And so there that constant tug and pull when I kind of had that two-step process of first I quit the full-time job and then I started the book truck. And in both of those steps, I feel like I found like so much more joy in like I
Mhm.
felt like I found pieces of myself again
Oh,
that
yes.
I know. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I won't get emotional.
I swear every time there's been a crying every conversation we've had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard because everyone people will tell you like follow your dreams, do what you want to do, like it'll work out, but it is still like horrendously scary to
Mhm.
say I went from this comfortable six-figure job where I liked all my coworkers
Yeah.
and no one was asking too much of me, but
Mhm.
I just truly felt so unfulfilled and like
Mhm.
just sort of empty with my like where my time and energy was going. And then of course that then made me feel like a bad mom because I would feel depleted when I was with kids.
Yeah.
And so that first step was like allowing myself to like just take a break and like look up a little bit. I feel like so much more of like a normal whole person now. And it's but
Mhm.
I also one of the things I was thinking about in prepping for this conversation today was like it has made me realize like how privileged I am to be able to even
Yeah.
just quit a job with no plan and know
Right.
that I'm going to be okay. Like I am so like grateful to have that privilege and that like basic stability, even if that's like a medium or short term thing. Like I know not everybody can do that, and even sitting here right now, I probably couldn't. I would love to say like if you have a dream, go out and follow it, but like it's not
Right.
that easy. And I
No.
sort of had to force myself into the position
Mhm.
before I believed that maybe I
It
could
could
make this
it could
work.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
that like giving up that financial stability was
Yes.
not the end of the world. Like there will always be something else. There was a lot of like, I think anxiety does that to me, like black and white thinking. Like either
Mm.
I'm in my full-time job, like doing a good job, or I'm failing.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
All or nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yes, it's been a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Like first of all, because I get to do new things. Like I'm not just sitting and looking at my computer. I'm like moving boxes of books, which is hard, but like just like this general activity and like getting to talk to people and
Mhm.
having all these different aspects of stuff that I do day to day. And I have the ultimate like decision making power
Mhm.
is it's a lot more fulfilling. Like when I got the license plate for the truck
Mhm.
all by myself, I felt like I had accomplished like so much more than I think I ever did in my job. Like it just,
Yeah.
it's just really fun to be able to do something for myself and for my family, because this is just like a completely
Yeah,
different story that I'm writing
right.
for my kids too.
Yeah. What do they think
So,
about mommy with the book truck? Do they?
well, Callan loves the truck just in general. Like he'll
Right.
go
Like,
outside and
so
say,
cool.
he
Mom
says, I
drives.
want to,
Yeah.
yeah, he says,
Yeah.
Mama drive the truck, or Callan
Oh,
drive the truck.
so she's like, I get to drive it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, Paisley is, so she's in first grade. She
Hmm.
is now kind of getting to the point, like she's been learning how to read, obviously, but she's now getting comfortable enough with reading that it's not so much effort. And so she enjoys
Hey.
things that take a little bit more like focus and brain power. And so I told her, like, as we start to figure out exactly like what this looks like on a little bit more like event to event basis,
Yeah.
that it would be cool for her to have like a little spot that's like, these are Paisley's picks for like the and she loves that. And also she's writing books that she wants to put on the truck.
You're gonna make me.
I know, it's so cute.
That I
I
used to
love
read
it.
books when I was a little girl. I'm
Yeah.
still gonna get my mom to give them to me because how cool would that be to like take it and do something with it? But I
Yeah.
love you inspiring your kid. Oh my gosh, that's
I
amazing.
just, yeah. And I hope that it's like fun, because I'm looking back at this
Yeah,
now and I'm like, I realize fun is not the only thing that like you can do in life. Life is
yeah.
not always fun, but the idea that now I am not just the mom that like closes the door when they're home from school in the summers or something
Mhm.
and has to take meetings and stuff, and like I can make them a little bit more a part of that,
Oh
I think
yeah,
is also really nice.
that's really
So,
magical. Yeah.
yeah.
What would be your favorite thing from your transition? Your absolute favorite thing. If you had to pin it.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think my favorite thing was I turned my office into a library.
Yeah, that's
Like this is I joke a lot, but I'm also kind of serious. Like when I go to bookstores now, it's like networking opportunities. When I was at home, when I was in Kansas over Christmas visiting my parents,
Mhm.
I visited like 3 or 4 indie bookstores in the Kansas City area. And I talked to like every single owner, and like
Amazing.
everyone is so nice. Anyway, but yes, when I quit my job, I almost immediately sold my standing desk and my walking pad and my office chair and was like, we're done with that era. We're moving on.
Okay.
This is like a new era. Painted
Hmm.
this, got bookshelves. Like,
Yeah.
this is like my little happy place now.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Would you say, is there been any movement since you started that were like maybe the opposite end? Like, what did I get myself into? Did you have any of those since you started?
I mean, the weekend in December that I had 2 events, I had one on
Mhm.
Saturday and one on Sunday. I did not realize what I was getting myself into. Like,
Nope.
one event a week is like I can spend all of my time getting ready for that. And then when it's done,
Oh,
it's done. And then I kind of like focus on the next thing. But
yeah.
I had 2 events. I had to kind of prep like inventory that was going to last both days. And then because of like the weather and stuff, we lug everything inside.
Yep.
And then the next morning, I brought it all back out. And by the time we were done with that and like moving on to winter break, I had like pulled my shoulder from having like bad
Oh,
form,
geez.
picking up
Yeah.
boxes without using my legs, kind of stuff, just like trying to get done and basically like throwing
Just,
boxes of
yeah.
books.
Yeah.
So I knew there were going to be heavy boxes involved,
Mm,
but that just like physical process of preparation, and in particular with multiple events back to back, was
yeah.
definitely a little bit more daunting than I
Yeah.
anticipated. So I think that'll get easier.
Yeah. That seems hard.
Yeah, I mean it's a learning process. And so
Right.
it's still like it's hard, but it's been fun because I'm like I get to choose myself like what I'm learning.
Yeah. I think
So
for me too, the my favorite thing about doing some stuff while I'm able to be home is I get to learn and grow my skills alongside teaching our kids to
mhm.
learn and grow and constantly challenge yourself and learn things and have failures and know that's okay because you're just a human and you're growing and to like dive into things that you're interested in and that's okay to do. So it's like a really fun process and there's hard times with it, but it's also
Yeah.
the joy kind of outweighs it sometimes too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Are there any books? Okay, so are you a reader that reads one at a time, or do you do like, people read like 5 at a time.
Yeah, I go
Yeah.
back and forth.
You go back and
I
forth. Okay.
I will go back and forth because if it's a book that I'm like really excited about and I
Okay.
just want to be fully involved in it, I won't read anything else. But I otherwise will usually have like something long and maybe more complicated. A lot of fantasy books are all like chunky because there's so much like world building that has to happen.
Mm,
But then I'll also have like something light and easy for bedtime. So I don't flip back and forth like constantly, but I
yeah.
usually have more than one thing sitting around.
What would be the genre that you would like if you had to only read one for the rest of your life? What genre would it be? I know that's like probably the hardest.
It is really hard because like right now, romantasy, that like romance plus fantasy like genre is really big and I
Mm,
really enjoy it. There's always like really strong female characters and all that good
yeah.
stuff. But I do think that like in terms of longevity, oh man, I would probably say fantasy or maybe like historical fiction
Mm,
because they are both, for me, those are both ways to like sort of like historical fiction obviously is like real world, but it's not
yeah.
my world.
Oh,
So it's still like transporting somewhere else and getting to learn like what that was like while
yeah.
enjoying like a story. Fantasy is just like a slightly different way to do that.
Mhm.
That is sometimes a lot more complicated to learn, but it would probably be one of those two. Which is funny because before COVID, I did not read fantasy at all. Like I think COVID drove me into this like complete like escapism
Yeah.
side of reading. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So if you're okay with them, I'm gonna do a couple rapid fire questions before
Yes.
closing, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. Tell me the exact order.
This is
Tea.
gonna sound really crazy, but usually black coffee.
Oh no, that's not crazy. It's very common.
I it's
Just
That's what we drink at home, and
yeah.
sometimes it just like hits the spot better than like the sugar and the milk and stuff. So
Yeah. Okay. No,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
All right. Paperback or hardcover?
Hardcover, I think,
Why is that?
because like, can I show you?
Yeah, of
I know we're
course.
on a podcast, but
Oh no, I
like
the video. Oh.
the beauty
I saw you post that
of
on
like
Instagram. I've never seen people do that
I
on the pages.
just this is like literally just one example, but like they make books
Wow.
so pretty now. And
They
like they do that on paperbacks too, but I'm a sucker for a really beautiful
yeah.
hardback with like the pictures on the edges and stuff.
Oh,
So
that's so
even though they are heavier, I
yeah.
would probably say
You like a
hardback.
hardback. Okay.
Yeah.
What about dog ears or bookmark?
Bookmarks.
Okay.
I have a coworker friend
Mm,
who we have a constant, or I guess previous coworker friend, we have a constant like kind of poking each other thing about dog ears
dog
versus
ears.
bookmarks because he says dog ears should be okay, and I don't believe that's true.
Yeah.
So
It's so funny. I think I'm trying to think what I am. I'm always a bookmarker. I don't like
yeah,
burning the page. Like it just yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. No, I gotcha. But also then my husband's perspective is like, but then you like know what people like because they, marked it, when like people I know. It goes both ways. You're like, no.
You could always use a sticky note or
Right.
like a sticky tab. You
Yeah.
don't have to do that to the
Um,
book.
are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
I'm a night owl.
You're a night
Yeah,
owl. Has
for
that been
sure.
consistent through your life or is it just been in motherhood or
I think so. I think I was probably always a night owl. Like even if
yeah.
I was up early, that was my choosing.
Okay.
So
Do you audiobook? Yes or no?
yes.
You do.
Yes, this is a whole like I'm sure lots of people talk like the discussion about whether audiobooks count or not, I
Think
think
that
is
is
kind
a
of
big
crazy. I don't listen to audiobooks as much as other people I know just due to personal preference. Like if I have a hard book in my hands, I'm much more likely to focus on it than if I'm listening and doing something else with my hands. And then I have a tendency to kind of wander off and stop listening.
Interesting.
But I have like listened to audiobooks and I'm like so glad that I listened to it rather than read it because it was so well done. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yes, there.
An audiobook. Does it have to have a happy ending required, or are you okay with sad endings?
I'm okay with it, but I usually case sad endings or like books that I know are gonna be like
Yeah.
heart wrenching, like once every 10 books or something. So
Yeah.
usually happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a friend, a neighbor, if she's listening to this podcast, hello, but if there's a sad book, she reads really fast, so she'll read it and then tell me if I should read it. I think I was postpartum with a book club and it was really, really sad, and she's like, "You don't need to read it." I was like, "Thank you." So,
Yeah.
I'm definitely I like the happy ending, based on my season,
Yes,
just for
for
mental
sure.
health. So, anything that you would recommend for just before we kind of close out, if someone's interested in making a leap themselves, if they have an idea
Yeah.
in their mind, or any advice that you would give to someone that's kind of in a similar situation that you were in?
Yeah. I think what I would love to say is like, just go for it. But I know that that's not always the case. And so I think honestly, even just like, just explore it. Like, just allow yourself
Yeah.
space to think, like, if this were possible, what would life look like? What's the best case scenario and the worst case scenario? And if there's like a very specific business idea that you have in mind, you don't have to just think about it. Like, you can like more seriously explore it and still give yourself permission to say, oh, okay, that's not going to work. Or give yourself permission to say, like, I'm going to do it. I kept that idea in my head for so long because I was afraid of like messing with the stability and the world is a crazy place. Like, you never know what's going to happen. And I think that keeps a lot of people on the same, like the path that they're on. It's easier to just keep walking than to like jump off a cliff. So
Yeah. That's true.
I think it's just, yeah, I think it's like giving yourself permission to explore what things could look like.
Mhm.
And it doesn't always have to be black and white because if anyone listening is like me, like I'm a very typical like oldest daughter, perfectionist,
Oh,
like
yeah.
straight and narrow kind of person. And that's what my whole life has been like. And if you would have told me a year ago that I would have just like quit my job without a plan and then bought a vintage truck and like I I could not have even have fathomed that, but
Mhm.
just giving myself permission to not to fail, but literally to just not be perfect or not
Oh,
try to
oh,
be perfect.
that hit me there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Perfectionism is a tough thing to recognize,
Mhm.
particularly because the perfectionist people are probably going to be the ones saying like, well, I'm not perfect. Like I don't do things perfectly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, and that's the point. So that's a big thing I've learned. Give yourself permission
Mhm.
to make a different choice.
Yeah, be
You don't
curious.
have to keep doing the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Well, that's awesome. Well, this has been such a wonderful conversation. I love getting to know a little bit more about your business and kind of the
Thanks, Emily.
backstory. But if you don't mind, if you wanted to share anything of how listeners and AKA readers can find you, is
Yes.
it best if you want to share your social? And I will also put it in the show notes for anyone, but just the best way to get in touch with you, if you don't mind sharing.
Yes. Yes. Instagram is going to be the best place right now. It's
Okay,
our handles at Mood Reader Books, just
perfect.
all the words, no dots or anything.
Nice.
Um, we
And you
will
have an
be at
upcoming event too?
yes
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the Romance Book Fair. It's a romance only book fair at Triple C Brewery on February 7th.
Okay.
And then February 21st, we'll be at Camden Collective, which is the big vendor market that's going to be going on in Camden Road in South Bend. So they like close down the road and it's just like vendors all up and down the road. So that would be
That's
really fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to come to one of those events and see you because it's been forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
I know. I'll bring my kiddo and you can she's a huge Pete the Cat fan. She loves Pete the Cat. That's probably like her favorite thing. And she loves any story that rhymes.
Right.
So yeah.
Yes, we love Pete the Cat too.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. You too, Em.
Thank you so much for being here with me today on the Be Well and Ground podcast. I hope this episode has filled your heart with new ideas, inspiration, and a little more peace. Remember, your journey to balance is uniquely yours, and you deserve all the love and joy and the calm that comes with it. If you enjoyed today's show, I'd be so grateful if you could share it with someone who might need it, or if you could leave a review to help others find this space of support and inspiration. That would be so much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode filled with heart and healing. Until next time, take a moment to breathe, honor yourself, and know that you really are doing an amazing job. Sending you so much love and light. Have a wonderful day.